Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast, episode number 17.
What?
I am your host, Jacob Rice. I'm joined as always by Jared Kiddo.
How you doing, guys?
So most of you will have noticed last week there was no Real Talk Podcast. You were pre-warned.
Yeah.
We moved.
We
So
did.
We
moved.
We live in a
live-
single block of units.
Yes, we live in. I'm not going to tell you the address, but we live together now.
Yeah.
Because we realized after like 6 months of going back and forth between suburbs, it's just easier that we just move in together. So we did, and it was a bitch and a half.
Yeah, but we did it. It was relatively pain-free, and now we're back bringing you the Real Talk Podcast every single week.
Yes.
And a lot of new stuff hopefully coming soon, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So first of all, you saw a couple of movies this week,
I did.
despite the hectic nature of our lives.
Yes, I saw Toy Story 4, which was a massive punch to the nostalgia, which is my stomach, and it was such a good movie. It was so good. It was awesome. I'm just trying to think what I gave it in the review. I think it was like 4.5 stars.
I think 4.5 stars was the
But
go for it, yeah.
yeah, it was brilliant. Like, it really just it shows like how Pixar animation has come from early late 90s, early
Yeah.
2000s to now. Like, it is ridiculous, and yeah, it's just the way they concluded, the story of like these characters that we've grown up with ever since I was a kid, and since since you were a kid, and
Yeah.
a lot of the people who's listening to the podcast now, and it was very satisfying to see how they concluded their stories and where they go from here, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, the animation alone over the last few years, Pixar really has become the standard, the industry standard for what animation should be.
Yeah.
I think the best way to really describe how far they've come is the cross comparison between Toy Story 1 and the dog, which was at the time
That was
groundbreaking stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then you see the new one where I think it was a cat, and it just looks like a cat. A real cat, not an animated one, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the comparisons between the two, and it's absolutely ridiculous. You think to yourself, I was watching the first Toy Story the other day, and I was just thinking to myself, and I just seen the fourth one, and I'm like, man, this doesn't hold up. I mean, the story is still brilliant, but the animation just doesn't hold up anymore. It's ridiculous. But it was. And on top of that, the new characters as well, that they introduced, like Duck and Bear. I don't know if they...
Key and Peele.
Keegan-Michael Key, who played Duck, and Jordan Peele, who played Bear, and they they play a pair of psychopathic stuffed animals.
Of course they do.
It's brilliant. And Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, he's the was it Dutch?
He's
Duke.
Duke Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom, yeah.
Canadian stuntman.
There's really no wrong, really, isn't it? Keanu Reeves is he's on a roll at the moment. He had John Wick, which was a huge movie, made shitloads of money. He shows up at E3, manages to yet again become a meme. You're breathtaking. And then he shows up in Toy Story and proves that you can do a kids movie as well as turning up in romantic comedy.
But you know who else is in it? And Mel Brooks is in it as well. He plays a minor character at the beginning of the film. But they got a lot of A-class actors to come in, because that's what these movies are. It's like what episode 7 was for Star Wars. They got a lot of A-class actors just to be in Star Wars. Simon Pegg played
Unkar Platt.
Unkar Platt. You didn't even get to see his face. It was majority latex and CGI. But then also, who's the guy who played 007.
Daniel Craig is allegedly one of the stormtroopers.
Apparently, he's the stormtrooper who tells Rey to who drops his weapon and leaves Rey alone.
Yeah.
And then they just had a lot. And apparently the prince Prince Harry and the other one,
William.
That's one. Yeah. Apparently they were stormtroopers in the movie. Apparently, allegedly, I don't know. But that's the whole thing. That's what Toy Story has become. It's become such an iconic franchise that people want to be a part of it. Like, they got Mel Brooks. They got a few other A-class comedians to be in it as well.
I mean, it already had a fairly A-class cast with Tim Allen and Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
So they already started off with a pretty high based acting crew there. But I feel like that's becoming not just a Toy Story thing, but a Pixar thing.
Yeah.
People are lining up to be in Pixar movies and Disney movies. Just look at the last sort of run of Disney movies with you've got Moana, which had Dwayne Johnson in it.
Yeah.
Frozen had Kristen Bell and Alan Tudyk in it. I mean, Alan Tudyk is also in Moana.
Actually, speaking of Disney movies, the new Lion King.
That has got such an all-star cast. It's not funny.
And the duet of "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" with Beyonce and Childish Gambino.
It apparently is actually. No, it's tomato at this point. But they have registered it not as Beyonce and Childish Gambino, but as Beyonce and Donald Glover.
Sorry?
When they've put it through, instead of the artist being published as Beyonce and Childish Gambino, they've published it as Beyonce and Donald Glover, because apparently he has now, after his Australia tour, officially left the Childish Gambino moniker behind, which is a little bit of a shame.
It is a shame, but you can only do as much as you can. He wanted to do a lot with acting when it came to Community. And then after Community,
6 seasons in a movie.
Hashtag 6 seasons in a movie. But he did as much as he wanted to do with Community, acting wise. And then after that, he wanted to pursue his music career, which he did with Flying Colours. And then he wanted to do his writing, which he did with Atlanta.
And something else.
And
he'd written something else, but he's not in it. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, me neither. But and then after that, he went back to acting, and then he was in Spider-Man. He played he technically
he's the Prowler.
He plays the Prowler, but he's not the Prowler. No,
he's not the Prowler yet.
He's not the Prowler yet. But it's cool. He's pursuing every aspect of his talent. He's doing he's going from one place to he's gone from one to the other.
Yeah.
But he's ticking all the boxes, and right now he's pursuing acting, proper acting.
Yeah, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Which actually is funny, because while we're on the subject of music and movies, you also saw Yesterday this week.
Oh yeah.
A movie, unfortunately, I've not got to see yet, but I'm a big Beatles fan.
Yeah.
As you know, anybody who is a fan of music is a Beatles fan.
Yeah.
I've read a few things before you tell us how good you thought it was.
Yeah.
Apparently, it is it's one component shy of being amazing. It's got a good premise, it's got a good story, it's got good acting. It's just missing something that's not there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but for the life of me, I don't know what it is missing something. For me, I thought some of the shots in the movie were kind of a little bit jarring to me. I thought, there were some shots in there that felt very not indie, maybe indie is the wrong word to use, but felt very
almost basic.
Not basic, but to the point where it's a student experimenting on an indie film, where it's you didn't really need to do a shot like that to express the meaning of the scene. You probably could have just done something else with it. But I mean, it's still a fantastic movie. No matter which way you look at it, And the story itself is brilliant as well because it plays on the fact that, I mean, obviously, like the plot is pretty much told in the trailer where he wakes up one day and no one remembers the Beatles, and the movie could have gone two ways with it. They could have made him to be like this, like he's got the golden ticket and he becomes the biggest rock star in the world, or biggest pop rock star in the world, because he now knows all of their songs and he sings all their songs, or he goes out and he gives the music of the Beatles to the world because they even say it in the movie that a world without the Beatles is a world not worth living in. Because it's actually kind of true, because the Beatles themselves were such an influential band. They influenced not just other artists, they influenced, they influenced millions of people around the world. Like they were the biggest pop band in the world, and then in this movie like that, in one night, they were erased from existence. But it also plays on the fact that, if you have the talent to bring these songs to people, and if you have the talent to give these songs to the world, then you kind of have like an obligation to, spread the joy of the Beatles to the world, which is for me, it felt like that was a really satisfying movie because it's the way I wanted it to go. But for me, like there were a few things in there that I probably would have done a little bit differently. But besides that, besides the shots and all that, besides some camera techniques, I couldn't really see much wrong with it. That's kind of I go into it a little bit in the review, but not to the extent where it's like paragraphs on paragraphs of it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
The review will be out on Monday.
Yeah.
As that is our current release schedule is article review.
Yeah.
A few days gap. We were doing a Twitch stream, which again I'll go into a little bit later on, and then the podcast.
So I didn't mean to slow it down with like that massive spiel.
No, not at all. That's why we're here. At the end of the day, is we love movies, and we're here to talk about movies and pop culture and all that stuff. And here we are, we're doing it. Speaking of on the pop culture subject, we went to Supernova.
We did
on the weekend. The weekend, funnily enough, that you guys didn't get a podcast. So we saw a few things there. We didn't really do many of the celebrity meetups. That's not really what we're about.
No.
We did see Stephen Amell from a distance, who looked a lot.
He looked a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Do
you even lift, bro?
Did you stop juicing?
Yeah, pretty much. No, it was just one of those random things. We saw a few bits and pieces.
Yeah, we saw a few things. I spent a lot of money.
Those of you who follow the Instagram account will have seen that we did, in fact, buy the Leviathan axe.
Yeah,
because we are adults.
Well, I mean, we moved into the apartment. What, the day we moved into the apartment?
The day before Supernova.
Before Supernova. That day we needed something to go on the wall, so I bought a $250 axe.
Yeah, it's fantastic looking. It really is.
No, it's brilliant.
I love it. It just looks fantastic propped up against the wall in our lounge room. First night
we got it. We also bought a sword as well, and we were just playing in our new lounge room, and then you stabbed me with my axe.
I did.
You
he makes that sound a lot worse than it is.
He
was mildly scratched with the tits. It's a scab. It's not a scar. All right, calm down. No, you're making it sound like I maliciously attacked you with an axe, which, in fairness, I'm not above doing. But yeah, there were a few cool things, bits and bobs we saw. I bought a few more replica wands.
Yeah.
Because I'm a massive Harry Potter fan, and I had money to burn, which is never a good combination. So obviously we bought the axe. We bought a laughing samurai sword because we're adults.
Yeah. Met a lot of.
And then we met a lot of
talented
writers and artists, and we bought a few indie comics.
Yeah, we bought a few comics. We bought one comic that was XTC. I know, funny name, but XTC Comics, or Extreme Champion Tournament, the Spartacus issue. Just trying to see if I can find the actual name of the comic?
It is XCT Extreme Champion Tournament Breakout is Volume 3. That's the one we bought.
Yeah.
It was written by Ben Rosenthal and illustrated by Alex Malishiv. I don't probably not pronouncing that even remotely close to correct. But created by Sean Keenan. Great comics. I highly recommend that you all go out and you look at them and you purchase them. The artwork, I'm just flicking through some now. The artwork is amazing. The story is really good. Really fun.
The one that I read one. It's the Spartacus one. I'm pretty sure it's the first issue or issue 0. I read this. I read this issue and it's brilliant. It's like the what do you call it? The illustration is fantastic. The writing is brilliant. And on top of that, the guy that we met and we spoke to about this, he was such a nice dude. And like he was talking to us about like how he came up with the idea for the comics and all that kind of stuff, which is why we go to these sort of things, so that we can actually meet these people and we can actually find out why they do it, where they get their inspiration from. So that's pretty cool. Also, people like that, they feed on the, what do you call it? I'm just kind of filibustering at this point. Yeah, but it was such a good comic. Like, we bought, 2-3 more comics up from the same guy. Not just those comics, but we also bought, I went out and bought Infinity Gauntlet. I went out and bought so much stuff from Supernova. There was the Trident that I wanted to buy. Aquaman's Trident, which was like $700, and it was proper metal and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was huge, fucking massive. It was as tall as I am, and I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
To put into perspective how actually large that is. I almost bought Mace Windu's lightsaber.
Yeah. Which I had to stop you from doing because it was like $300.
And we'd already spent a lot of money.
Yeah. Actually, I'm glad that we took our mate Sam. We took our mate Sam to Supernova, and it was his birthday, and he'd never been to anything like this before. And we said to him, it was like, now at Supernova, there's going to be a lot of people who, dress up, in costumes and all that kind of stuff. And he said to us, it's fine. It's kind of confronting. Some people like to dress up as anime. Some people like to dress up as anime and all that kind of stuff. Dudes dress up as anime girls, and he goes, "Oh, that's fine." He saw one dude dressed up as a chick, and he just kind of went, "Oh man." And I'm like, "What's wrong with that, Sam? He's just cosplaying. He's just cosplaying." He's like, "That's so weird." It's like, "It's not weird. It's not weird. It is a bit weird, but it's not weird."
It's an odd. It's an odd group of people, cosplayers.
There was
I'm not knocking. We're not knocking anyone who does it. Not even remotely thinking about doing anything along those lines. But they are pop culture enthusiasts, us included, are weird people.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is people dressed like furries. If that's your thing, that's your thing. I don't get it. Not my thing. But yeah, people dress up weird. I will never fully understand. I don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Women who feel like it's okay to go to these things in your underwear and call that cosplay. Don't get me wrong.
I love
not
it.
knocking it. But I don't know. It's each to their own, I guess. And I do see. We've been going to these things for, I was saying to you, I think I've missed 2 Supernovas in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So, to me, this is second nature. I mean, we went to PAX, we've been to the EB Games Expo, I've been to a Comic-Con once or twice.
Yeah. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's the next one that we're going to.
We are going to Comic-Con. I do hope that we will hopefully do some stuff there. We will be in cosplay.
Yeah. What's our cosplay?
We're doing... Red Dead Redemption. So starting off easy because we are building to do something else next year.
Yes.
But we're not going to tell you about that. You'll see the full Instagram story when we start doing it.
Yeah, true.
That's fine.
What did you grab?
I went and grabbed. So your rambling was kickstarted by me running off to grab a couple of comics that I bought. Which the writer, was kind enough to sign for me. I just wanted to give him a shout out. Christian Reed, he writes a series called The Eldritch Kid. I bought the 2 available issues that they have now. Well, they're graphic novels.
Yeah.
So I think he said that the Bone War is the first one.
Yeah.
And basically, it's cowboys, because I like cowboys.
Yeah.
But like done in a horror setting. I'm just flicking through it. I'll post some Instagram photos up today of just some of the artwork that's in it. It's just truly like, look at, like, they're phenomenal. They're really phenomenal.
Actually,
stuff.
can I read that after you?
Yeah, 100%. And there's another one called Whiskey and Hate, which he calls I think he said it was like a zombie one.
Yeah.
But that's sort of done like the Eldritch Kid one is done with like bright reds and oranges and things of this nature, and like the Eldritch Kid Whiskey and Hate, the zombie one, is done sort of with like pasty browns, and it's just fantastic artwork. I really enjoy it, and I also bought another one called Dead Man's Land.
Yeah.
Which
is that the one with the werewolf on the front?
Yeah, it's written by Barry Duffield and illustrated by Tyler Souls.
Yeah. And
I started reading it one night and I finished it. It was just great. Like the artwork, it's not as like detailed as some, but it sort of fits the story. I don't know if you've I think I saw Overlord with you.
No, you didn't see it with me.
Maybe I saw
it.
Maybe I saw it with Tom.
Yeah.
For those of you who have seen Overlord, which is the one where they're all zombies, it's basically that with werewolves.
Oh, that's cool.
But it just works. I know it shouldn't. It's Nazi werewolves.
Well, that's the thing about comic books, is like they can be as outrageous as you want, but as long as the writing and the illustrations is good, and like, but that's the thing, like, it can be so outrageous, but it can work as long as like, I don't know. There's no holding back when it comes to writing a comic book, like werewolves and Nazis. That shouldn't work, but it does.
Yeah, it is one of those things like. So basically, I'll give you like a quick summary of the story. I won't go into it. Yeah. It's a like paratrooper squad.
Yeah.
Trying to get dropped behind enemy lines, and they get shot down. And then they land and they get to a village, but the village is empty. Like there's blood everywhere. There's no people there, and then like they find that there was a Nazi squad, but they've been like ripped apart.
Yeah.
And they basically they hunker down. And then they discover that the one Nazi squad had actually been eaten by the other Nazi squad, who are all werewolves. And it just ensues from there. It's gory. I mean, it's a very basic story because Nazi werewolves.
Yeah.
But it was great. It's just I thoroughly enjoyed it. That particular comic we bought from, I can't remember what the company's called. That's really gonna eat me.
Is it?
It's not on the back. But they were. The guy told us that he was pitching some shows to Netflix. Because they wanted a certain amount of Australian content for Netflix in Australia anyway, and they were hoping to pitch a new series based off one of their comics. I believe the XCT, the Extreme Champion Tournament.
Yeah, I think that
which was a very like a gory ultimate fighting sort of style.
Yeah.
So I mean, keep an eye out for that. I will find out what the company is called. The card is somewhere around. Obviously, we haven't fully unpacked yet.
Yeah.
I will find the card.
Yeah.
I will upload that to all social media. Like I cannot stress enough. You should go and get some of these. They are fantastic.
Yeah.
And like, I hope you've all read the article this week. I am actively endorsing at the moment. Everyone go and support like indie developers, comics, books, TV shows, movies, music, anything. Like they're not getting support from like governments and big companies and stuff because they don't think.
Well, the thing is, they don't get that much. support from them because they don't really see that much of a return on them. They don't see them as much as a big investment.
Yeah, and we know a few people who are trying to do like web series and writing and plays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who have to do it all off their own money and like advertising and all that stuff. We know an artist who's like had to change up his entire the way he does stuff.
Yeah, true.
He's a cartoonist.
Yeah.
Sydney cartoonist.
Yeah.
Check him out on Instagram. I'll just shout him out casually here.
Yeah.
So just go and if you see something and it looks cool and you're like, but they're not really in a comic book store.
Yeah.
Just buy it. Just buy it. If you get an opportunity to go to like the Sydney film festivals and Melbourne film festivals or any film festival ever, go. Take the opportunity. Go, because they're that by going to these things and purchasing the comics and all this stuff, they're really cheap.
Oh yeah.
Because they're not backed by massive companies who want you to spend shitloads of money at their stores. So just buy them.
Yeah, they want you to just these people
buy them, and then they'll get they then have the money to create more content and better content, and then they'll be the people who they'll change the industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'll stop there because I am now preaching.
But the thing is, like you said, actually speaking of that,
Sorry.
I've noticed because when I went to go see, what last movie did I go see? Yesterday. I noticed because before the movie, I think Transmission Films.
Yeah.
Transmission Production or something. They've been doing a lot more Aussie-based productions.
Yeah.
There's one that's based off the Battle of Long Tan in Vietnam, and then there was another Aussie film called Ride Like a Girl. But it actually looks pretty. It's got Sam Neill in Ride Like a Girl.
Oh, nice.
So I kind of want to watch it for that, but also I do, it's good to see that they are actually putting in more effort into Australian-based content, because we have great actors in this country, and we also have a lot of great we have really cinematic surroundings as well.
Yeah, but they just don't seem to be able to pull all of the. We have got a lot of individual pieces that are fantastic, and for some reason, somewhere along the lines, whether it be we just can't seem to pull those together.
Yeah.
By rights, we should be pumping out better and more cinematic movies than America and UK and things like that.
The thing is, America is known. Hollywood is known for
because they pumped all the money into that. And that's fine. I don't think anyone really is going to take over Hollywood as the movie-making capital of the world. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen. No. Short of there being an earthquake and Hollywood falling into a hole.
No, I don't
it's probably not going to happen. No. But, there's no reason why Australian movies shouldn't be up there.
Yeah. I mean,
they just seem to always fall at the last hurdle.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Something seems to unravel, and
I have a feeling that the two movies, maybe not the Australian war movie, but I have a feeling that Ride Like a Girl, and I don't know why, will end up being straight to DVD.
I really hope not.
I hope not as well, because I'd love to see that in cinemas. Because you don't see enough, we don't see enough Aussie-made and Aussie-produced content.
Yeah, I find there is a big problem here, because obviously, we like to try and keep our ear to the ground as much as possible.
Yeah.
I always find or get sent or come across trailers for Aussie films that look really, 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 really good, right? And then never hear about them again.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. I could turn on TV and I could get ads for some Netflix show, or Good Omens trailers have been everywhere.
Apparently that already got cancelled. Good Omens.
Yeah, apparently it didn't get. No, I don't think there was ever going to be a second season, because Terry Pratchett died before writing the last couple of episodes. I haven't watched it yet. I was talking to someone earlier. Apparently, you can tell with when the episode comes out, the one after he died and not written that episode yet, you can tell
it wasn't
from it's not it's not bad by any means.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have his sort of signature style to it.
Yeah.
Like, to the extreme that you can, like, physically, like, just by watching it, tell it was a different writer.
Yeah, true.
So, from that perspective, I'm glad they cancelled it, because if you can't maintain the tone that was set by him in the first couple of, the first 3/4 of the season, don't keep going.
Yeah, true.
Like, you don't want to poison a fan base just because, like, you want to make money.
Yeah. Also, what were we talking about before that?
Indie developers?
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, it's all good. So I'll give you the movie of the week now, which we're going to do slightly differently, and then if you are done with the podcast, you can go away and you can like and comment and go and read all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Or you can stay and we'll tell you about what we're going to be doing in the future.
Yay!
Please stay to the end. So we're going to do movie of the week differently this week. I'm not going to give you a movie to go and watch. I'm not going to tell you that you should go and watch blah or X. Go find an indie movie you haven't seen and watch it.
I saw one that I saw advertising for one on one of the two advertisements that pop up on my YouTube feed now, which is annoying. But also, who does YouTube think they are?
I think they think they're a money-making machine.
Yeah, true. But I saw a...
Please don't upset them. We're trying to get them to pay us.
Fuck the machine.
I'm very sorry, YouTube overlords. Please don't demonetize us.
It's like, okay, so I saw an advertisement for one called, I think it was like my reflection in the dirt or something like that. Yeah, it's a very indie, very student-made film. I had a look at it. It's not bad, but yeah, it's definitely one of those artsy kind of pieces where like it makes you think about it. So it's good.
As long as it doesn't make me think, I could be watching a better film.
Yeah. Well, no, but like
I joke, obviously. Yeah.
There are some very good indie films.
Yeah,
out there.
They're a very mixed bag.
Yeah.
But that's fine. That is the thing. We go and we watch movies, and then we go, that was crap, or that was good, and then they keep making the good ones, and hopefully only Michael Bay keeps making the bad ones.
I love Michael Bay.
Fight me, Michael Bay. As I run at you and you throw wads of cash at me from a distance.
That's his superpower.
He vomits cash.
It's just titties and cash.
Woo! So go and watch an indie movie. If you're not sure what one, you can literally just go onto Google and go indie movie, and it'll give you a top 10 list by about 300 different top 10 list writing companies. Just don't listen to BuzzFeed.
Are they even still a thing anymore? Is BuzzFeed even still a thing?
Yes.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I assume we're just swearing on podcast now. Fuck you, BuzzFeed. Fight me. And now the future of real talk.
Yay.
So I'll start off with the obviously annoying thing is we moved on Friday.
Yeah.
We almost had our internet installed on Monday. Keyword here being almost.
Yeah.
There isn't a PowerPoint where apparently there needs to be a PowerPoint because we've got NBN. Except now we don't have any internet because we need to have a PowerPoint installed to get the NBN installed so we can have internet. So I'm uploading this off my phone like some sort of scrub.
But the thing is, like, the guy came over and he just like, because they give you like a time bracket. It was like, okay, we'll come over between
Condense the story. It does need to be
like they come over between like 1 and 6, and he came over at 5:59. And obviously, if it wasn't going to be convenient for him, he wasn't going to do jack shit. So when he found out, there's no PowerPoint, I can't do anything. I said to him, can't you just run like a line? Like, can't you just run like a cable across from one of the PowerPoints in the lounge room? He goes, nah, I can't. I can drill a hole, but and I said, well, we're renting, we can't do that. And it's like, well, yeah, there's not really much I can do. Then what was the point?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a It was a little bit shit. But long story
show.
short is we need to get permission to put a PowerPoint in so that we can get the internet installed. So there will be no Twitch stream until further notice.
No.
Which I know
people don't get to watch us be shit at games.
Yeah, pretty much. I know it's a little bit annoying. I hope it'll be soon. I was sort of hoping to do a little Borderlands run through, a little bit of like retro stuff.
Oh yeah,
because we got like a PS3, a PS2, and Xbox 360 now. I was hoping to run through a bit of that. It looks like that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it'll be maybe a week or two before the internet's back and we can go back to doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which obviously it limits our capabilities. So there's that, which is a bit crap. We are also working on a thus named super secret project, which will be announced next
week
on next week's podcast. Holy crap, next week is episode 18.
Holy crap.
So we're throwing Real Talk an 18-week birthday because they age in their weeks are years. So our podcast will be 18.
Yes.
And therefore will be legal. So we can do real horrible shit to it. So we'll be announcing something.
Yes.
Which will till then be called Super Secret Project. There was a tease photo that came out a little while ago of Jared looking very sexy in a Hawaiian shirt because he almost exclusively wears Hawaiian shirts.
Majority of my
his wardrobe is the one nice shirt you saw him in drinking red wine, and Hawaiian shirts. That's also fine.
Hella fancy.
It was hella fancy.
Hella fancy.
And there's other plans. We are hopefully in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So that'll be by episode 21. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the phrase hopefully. Be moving to video podcasts.
Yes.
Which is super exciting. Because then you get to look at my ugly mug and Jared's beautiful bearded mug.
Thank you.
And then you can go, why the hell is the ugly one hosting? Which would be really exciting. And then once we've got that, because we'll be getting we know which one we're getting. There's a really nice looking, really well running 4K video camera. And once we've got that, we will bring more video content to you. Hopefully some behind the scenes stuff that we're working on.
Yeah.
A few like 5 to 10 minute clips of some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything for you now, but it's gonna be awesome. Because we're awesome and that we do awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So there's all that, and obviously with us living together and with Tom, who you've heard him on the podcast a couple of times. I think he was on the very first one.
Yeah.
He was on a little bit after that, and he was on the Massive Marvelous Marvel one.
He was.
Which if you haven't listened to, go back, because we were right about a lot of stuff.
We were right about a lot of stuff.
So we might be fortune tellers, because we guessed a lot of stuff for Endgame, and we guessed a lot of stuff that actually happened at E3. Therefore, we're wizards.
Well, we're just really good at our jobs.
We're wizards.
Oh God!
And there's a lot of stuff we're working on. Obviously, the reviews and the articles and the podcast. They're the three pillars that we built the foundation of Real Talk on.
Yes.
And we will that will be the majority of our stuff. We will always put time and effort into those.
Yeah.
To keep bringing you the content that you like.
Yeah.
So keep going, tell all of your friends and your family and even that guy at school that you don't like. Just as he's like, you're an asshole, and you're like, you should listen to the Real Talk podcast. It's on SoundCloud and YouTube. And then he'll get really confused, and hopefully he'll leave you alone and listen to the podcast. We're also writing some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you particularly want to go into yours, but I definitely don't want to go into mine.
Are you talking about my comic?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're writing some like separate stuff. I'm working on something that will
super secret,
hopefully be huge.
Yeah.
It's feeling huge, seeing as it's consuming almost all of my free time at the moment. I will let you know on Christmas what I'm doing. That'll be your Christmas present from Real Talk. I will write that down somewhere so that I don't forget to do it. But I will make that announcement on Christmas. You've got 6 months, which means I've got 6 months to get a lot of stuff done. You're writing a comic.
I am. I'm writing a comic. I'm writing a comic that is very... it's like Dirty Harry meets Hellboy in a way.
I'd love it already.
Yeah. So I'm calling it.
Is this a title or a working title?
It's a working title. I'm calling it Unholy John.
Unholy. I love it.
You
I
like
really
it?
do. No,
Yeah?
I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm calling it Unholy John, and it's basically about like this. Not post-apocalyptic, but it's set in the future, about 2066, and these, I think, like, and it's about like the world, or like this particular city. I'm thinking L.A., like the city of fallen angels, is kind of taken over by crime. No one is really doing anything to take care of it. Everyone's kind of stopped caring.
So L.A.
And everyone's just kind of like stopped caring. All the law enforcement is either dirty or they're too afraid to do anything. And, pretty standard stuff. And then obviously there's, the hero, I say in brackets, his name is John Marks. Or on the streets, everybody calls him the Marksman. Or to lower thugs, he's known as the Marksman. And one day, then there's these two rival gangs battling for dominance in LA, or in this post-apocalyptic LA battleground. That one of them is called, I think, the Brotherhood of Shadows, and then the other one is called the Shadow Hunt, and then I think the other one is called the Shadow Hunters. Also, these names are
also working titles.
Are also working titles.
It's a very, very early days.
And then ultimately, so their goal, their goal is to bring an army to kind of take over not just the city, but to also take over, the country, and then ultimately the world. And then John gets a tip and finds out, and he stops this from happening. But in doing so, he also attaches himself to one of the strongest demons that comes out, and comes out and attaches himself to his soul. And so he's kind of like one of those stories where he's literally fighting with his inner demon. And throughout the story, you tend to find out more about the character. You tend to find out like who he was as a character, and then also you get to find out, like you get to see where he goes on his journey and all that kind of stuff, like, and also how he has to deal with having this monster inside of him. So that's my big idea for my comic, which I've started writing. So I'm happy with it.
I like it. It sounds really, really good. Hopefully at some point you'll let me read it.
Yeah, of course.
And obviously mine is still top secret. I've been working on it since probably about February.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, a lot of stuff there, and I'm still nowhere near ready to show anyone.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because spoilers. There's a lot of spoilers I've written down. I've written probably more spoilers than I've written other stuff, but we'll get to that. And there's obviously some other stuff that we're working on together that also, that will stay secret for a little while.
Yeah.
So obviously, we got Monday, there will be a review for yesterday. Tuesday, there will be an article on an unknown subject. Wednesday, the review for Spider-Man will come out, and everything will be happy days. And then on Saturday, you will go all the way to Saturday, you will turn on your computer, you will listen to the Real Talk podcast, and then you will receive a huge announcement from me, the smiling, hairy dude. So yeah, that's been the Real Talk podcast.
It has been the Real Talk podcast. It is good to be back.
It is great to be back. I know it's only been a week, but I've missed making the podcast.
I do too.
I love the podcast, and we hope you love the podcast. If you want to let us know how much you love the podcast, follow me on Twitter. at Review by Lich.
You can follow me at JaredKiddo1.
You can follow us on Instagram. We are RealTalk_Pop Culture Discussions. We are on Facebook, SoundCloud, and YouTube, and we are all as Real Talk: Pop Culture Discussions.
Yeah.
You can look for the logo, which, if you're watching this on YouTube, is in the middle of your screen right now. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, it is also hopefully in the middle of your screen right now. Look for that logo, and we are everywhere. Slowly, just taking over the internet like a virus.
Yes.
But hopefully less deadly. As always, guys, keep it real.
Keep it real, guys, and stay sexy.